Hello everyone. Z-Image Turbo has growing its ecosystem, getting more features and LoRa trainer tool support. Today we have the ControlNet Union model from Alibaba PAI, and we have Depth Anything V3 from ByteDance that have really cool features way better than Depth Anything V2. Although this isn't the same team behind Exact Image Turbo, it is coming from the same company, and their quality usually meets a pretty nice standard for AI model releases. So today, we're going to check out how to use the ControlNet Union model. Just like other ControlNet Union models, this one combines different ControlNet types into a single AI model file. For ControlNet, we've got support for pose, like right here. This is a DW pose guiding reference, and you can see the generated result like this. We also have Canny Edge ControlNet, which is included in the Union AI model too. The most interesting thing I want to check out today isn't just trying different ControlNet types. I'm actually more interested in the depth ControlNet type that works with Z-Image, because recently, ByteDance launched their Depth Anything V3. This is another milestone for depth-based ControlNet models. With Depth Anything V3, unlike version 2, you get much deeper 3D understanding and room spatial detection from this AI model. As they mention on the Depth Anything V3 website, this model is great at RE covers the space with superior geometry and 3DGS rendering. So basically, it has features similar to Meta AI's SAM3, where SAM3 can render a 3D object from a single image. But Depth Anything V3 goes the other way. It takes an image of an object and tries to figure out how that object is formed in 3D space. So the ability is very similar, but the concepts are totally different. As you can see right here, this demo shows it's able to trace the motion throughout an entire video, like how deep the user is while running and walking on a rooftop. This isn't just a 2D style image or frame-by-frame depth detection based on black and white distance from the camera to the space. It actually understands the 3D layout. So let's check out how to download and install these files locally and play around with combining the ControlNet Union and Depth Anything V3 together. We've got the ControlNet Union files. This is one single file, about 3 gigabytes. Once you download it, don't put it in your usual ComfyUI ControlNet folder. Instead, go into your ComfyUI Models folder and look for something called Model Patches. We've used this same folder before with the Qwen Image ControlNet model type. As you can see, I've just dropped it in here. So, the Z-Model Turbo for ControlNet Union. We're also going to download the ComfyUI Depth Anything V3 custom nodes. This one's pretty easy to install in ComfyUI and run Depth Anything V3. What you can do is use this name. I've already got it here, but if you haven't downloaded it yet, just go to ComfyUI Manager, search for Depth Anything V3, and this search result should pop up. Just install it, restart your ComfyUI, and you'll see this node appear. Now here's something cool about the new Depth Anything V3. As you can see, I've got another node here. This one's for multi-view. These are especially useful for video or when you have multiple images you want to input, so Depth Anything V3 can analyze them and give you a 3D mesh-like representation of your objects. Let's start with the simple one first. We'll take an image input. Here's a sports car generated by AI, and I'm using the largest model of Depth Anything V3. I've also downloaded the DA3 base model. This one works well for most daily tasks, like generating a depth map like this. But if you want more detailed information about the image, you'll want to check out the larger versions. Here's a chart showing the differences between the models. The base, large, and small DA3 models all handle general, normal tasks pretty similarly, like generating a standard depth map from an image. But the DA3 Giant and Giant Large models offer extra features for 3DGS rendering, depth mapping, and even sky segmentation. That's another cool feature. You can actually segment the land and sky in an image using the largest DA3 models. For the depth map, this is basically what it looks like. You get more data output from the Depth Anything V3 custom nodes, giving you a richer understanding of your input image. For example, the confidence map here shows how confident the AI is about the highlighted objects, as well as the spatial distance between the camera and those objects. Okay, so we've got our object generated like this, the foreground here. And you can see the AI is even detecting angles that aren't visible in the original image. Where there's no information, it shows up blank like this, but overall, it understands that this object has multiple angles, which is why it renders the object like this from different perspectives. You can also see that, like with this table, depth anything v3 basically understands what's going on in the image. Next, we're going to look at multi-view using the point cloud feature. Now, multi-view, as the name suggests, lets you input multiple images from different angles. So for example, if you only have a single image and don't have multiple angles, you can use Qwen Image Edit with a multi-angle LoRa to generate different views of your reference image. Here, I already have two angles of a building. As you can see, the shape here isn't a normal boxy building. But when you run it through multi-view and get the point cloud, it actually captures both image angles of the object. In this case, the building. The point size here shows all the little dots. This isn't like those typical 3D blocks you might be used to. It's made up of tiny points that tell you what the geometry of the building actually looks like and how it's structured in space. If we bring it back and set the point size to something like 3, you'll start to see it form what looks like a 3D mesh of the object. Next, we'll check out how this works with video and how it looks different. For video tasks, the DA3 base model is usually good enough since you're mainly just rendering a depth map of your video. So here's how it looks. With this robot, we've got both the multi-view node and the normal DA3 custom node. You'll notice a difference in the generated ControlNet image. I've switched to a simpler video combine setup so it's easier to see without multiple output nodes cluttering things up. Let's wait for the result and we'll compare the outputs. Okay, so here's something special about DA3 and these custom nodes. I think it's going to make a huge difference compared to DA2, the previous version. As you can see here, this is the multi-view output on the left, and this is the normal DA3 output on the right. Let's play both. You'll see the robot doing a side air flip. When we sync up those frames, you can see that the multi-view version more clearly shows the robot as the foreground object, especially the head, even when it flips around like this, compared to the normal depth anything processor. With the standard one, you won't see the robot's head and body as clearly. Once it's turning, doing a flip, flipping over in the air, there's a big difference. When you use this, you get a much clearer picture of the spatial relationship between the foreground and background from this camera view when you generate a video. That'll obviously give your audience a stronger sense of depth and layering when your AI videos are generated using multi-view with DA3. So I'd say, in general, you'll probably want to stick with the multi-view node, both for images and for videos, to explore the depth map in this ControlNet setup. It's handled really well, especially since you can just use the DA3 base model, which is pretty lightweight compared to the DA3 Giant or Giant Large models that take quite a bit longer to load. Especially when you think about it, when you're actually running a video, you're not just processing 43 frames, you might have something like 800 or even 1000 frames to go through. So being able to use the base model and still handle multi-view, that's a pretty good deal with the DA3 models at this point. Now let's see how we can implement this with the Z image ControlNet that we just mentioned. We're going to bring both of these new things together and play around, so the DA3 with Z image. Here I've set up the ControlNet models like this. Remember the model patches folder I mentioned earlier? It's a subfolder inside your main ComfyUI models folder. That's where this node comes in. It's the model patch loader, and it uses the Qwen Image Diffuse ControlNet node as the model loader. So you connect this dot here, and then you'll be able to use this ControlNet. Now this image input here, this isn't where you plug in your reference image for ControlNet pose or ControlNet guidance. Instead, this is where you connect the pre-processed output from depth anything v3 or any other kind of ControlNet preprocessor. So let's say I have this generated image from before. I'll pass it into our depth anything v3 input. The multi-view version supports multiple images. You can see the input accepts several, but if you're using the normal depth anything v3, you can still use this node for your depth anything pre-processing, just like I mentioned. I tend to prefer multi-view sometimes, but even if you don't have multiple input images, it still works fine with depth anything v3. Now for the strength of this ControlNet, Z Turbo Fun ControlNet Union, I'd recommend using a value between 0.5 and 0.8. That range works well for depth map, Canny Edge, and hex ControlNet. For DW pose or open pose, I'd actually recommend going up to 1.0, which I'll try in the next demo. Below that, this is a very standard Z Image Turbo workflow for text to image. What we do is connect the model data to the ControlNet node. If you're using the standard Z Image Turbo template, you can go to Browse Templates here. After the latest ComfyUI update, you'll find the Z Image Turbo text-to-image template ready to use. It'll look like this once you click that button, then you can start playing around and adding more features. That's exactly what I did. I built on that template and added extra features like this for text prompts. I used Qwen with the creative refined text prompts. No custom prompts at all, just to see how it would look, and it worked really well with my image. So let's say I want to use this image for a post, and I'm using this other image to guide the text prompt to get a similar style, but with the character standing like this. Okay, so as you can see, we generated the image using the pose from our reference, guided by this depth map. And just like I mentioned earlier, the multi-view version gives a little more better job separating the foreground from the background, giving the image more dimension. That's how we ended up with something like this, an outfit that looks like Android 18, but applied to an Asian girl, and it worked. Now, if you've worked with Z Image Turbo before, you've probably noticed there are a lot of different sampler methods here. By default, the ComfyUI template uses multi-steps, another way you can leverage more detail from a low sampling step Turbo AI model. Or, you can use another option. If you've played around with the WAN 2.2 image-to-video model, you might know the MOE sampler. But this method uses more memory and computing power during execution, so keep that in mind. Still, it's a really nice way to run things, though it will give your image a slightly different look. For example, like this, you get much stronger prompt adherence. See how this isn't an Asian face anymore? It's actually getting closer to the Android 18 reference in terms of style. And just to clarify, these style prompts aren't like IP adapter or anything like that. This is just about generating very detailed text prompts from your reference image and feeding them back into the text prompt to restyle your new output. Here, I'm using another ControlNet DW pose. As we mentioned, the Union ControlNet supports this too. I had another AI-generated image from before with this pose, so we created the DW pose for both the character's face and body. And I generated this image based on styles from another image, also generated earlier. And this one isn't in a realism style, but since we're only using the reference for color and style, fed into the text prompts via Qwen, we still got the hair color, her dress, and even her makeup. But instead of copying the pose from that reference image, we use this new pose. It ends up feeling more like a crossplay or anime-inspired Japanese Asian style. You can see the skin looks a bit smoother. That's typical in some crossplay images. Okay, so here's the generated image this time. Looks pretty cool, actually. I'm surprised it's not just for realism. Even fantasy-style images can be created really well. And as you can see, I'm not using any LoRa models at all here, just the base diffusion model itself. Anyway, back to the topic. We're using DW pose here. So it detected this fox woman and also pulled the style from the reference image. With just 8 sampling steps like this, I'd say this looks reasonably nice for an 8-step image. Now, let's switch things up. We're not going to use DW pose anymore. Instead, we'll go back to depth anything v3. So we'll connect the depth map ControlNet and bypass the DW pose here. Here's another way to use it. With depth anything v3, we've still got the fox woman here as you can see, but now with a different output style. Even though we're using the exact same 2 images as before, switching to a different ControlNet preprocessor and model gives us a completely different result. Yeah, it's really cool to play around with depth anything, and these models are super fast. Like here, I can instantly generate another one, and just keep going. I could do this all day without any lag, and that's really awesome. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day.